Hello everyone and welcome back to FTB Skies 2. It's a demon summoning day, which means I built another platform very similar to the ones we have below our base here. So we have the... which one's this? AVR Circle Ritual expansion here, and then we have Xevious' Spectral Compulsion. We set these up many episodes ago. I just have moved them down since then. And we have two more summoning circles here for the business we're going to need to do today. I've gone ahead and pinned some things. The first one we want to do is actually the artisanal Ritual Satchel. Now, luckily, this is with Severe's Permanent. So down here we have Severe's Permanent Confinement, which is exactly what we want. And to do this, it's very simple. It's just some Ender Pearls, Aphrodite Essence, Strain Hopper, stuff right here. So all it needs is, 11 bowls? And that should be good. Perfect. So what this guy will allow us to do, it says it right there in JEI, but we will be able to store all of our chalks, our sacrificial bowls, golden sacrificial bowls, candles, skulls, crystals, everything like that, all inside this bag. And then we can actually just automatically build our rituals without having to worry. So it's super nice, and we can just come over here and speed this guy up. And there we go. So this will just be super useful to help us build these next few rituals we're going to have to do. So if we shift right click it open, we can just throw all of this good stuff in here. The sacrificial bowls we have to place down manually, but all of our chalk, skulls, attuned crystals, and candles. That's the one we were missing. So to start us off, we want, well, the Trinity Gem, which requires Renaz's contract. However, to make Renaz's contract, we actually need all of the different chalks available to us. If we come into our dictionary of spirits here, the first one we actually have to go ahead and do to get Renaz's contract is both the cyan, brown, and magenta chalks. Cyan is pretty easy. It simply requires Iasnium, Echo, and Glow Ink sacks. Magenta requires Ufix's Inverted Tower, and then the Goat of Mercy, which drops the Cruelty Essence, requires this Adger. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce Zeoranth's Adger. Yeah, we're not gonna try that one. So if we take the thing, we can just right click it down with our spirit book, and then come over here and right click it in with our satchel, and everything automatically places for us. So now we have the full pentacle drawn out. If we look inside of our satchel, a lot of our chalk's durability got used up, and with this guy we're going to want to spawn, well, the Goat of Mercy, which means we're both going to need Armadillo Scoot as well as Rabbit's Feet. We have the wool in Dripstone thanks to our mob farms, but for Armadillo Scoot we're actually going to have to venture into the FTB shop. So I don't remember how much it costs, but there is an Armadillo summon right here, which we did not buy enough silver coins for. There we go. And now we have an armadillo friend. Alright. We now have Dillo the armadillo, and what we can do is take a brush to him and brush off the scoot. And that unfortunately isn't enough. We're going to need another one. There we go. And that should be fine. And now we just need Rabbit's Feet, which is pretty easy to get, I'd say. If we just make an Emerald Grove portal, we can simply call a bunch of rabbits from the spawn here. And I'm just going to swab a rabbit just in case we don't get enough Rabbit's Feet from calling these guys. Oh, we got enough. Well, that's fine for now. Easy enough, but we'll keep it for later just in case. And to summon this guy, all we have to do is sacrifice a tiny little villager. Oh, we're missing a pointed dripstone apparently. Right there. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and speed this guy up. I want a swab of him. Hello, buddy. Goodbye, good sir. And that got us 5 Cruelty Essence more than we will ever need, but we do have a swab of him just in case. So that is one thing done off the list already. Now, with this guy, what we have to do is make some brown chalk, which means we need regular chalk, which means we're going to need more Spirit Fire, so I'll chuck some overworld logs in there, and we're good to go. We're going to need a lot of white chalks today, so it's useful that we have it. Okay, so 1 brown should be fine. There we go. We'll throw that in our pouch. Now for this guy, we needed to make cyan chalk, and this just by giving one of our crushers an echo shard, which means I'm just going to spawn another crusher. It's not too big of a deal. We've made plenty of these guys already at this point, and we'll just give him some echo shards and he'll be good to go. And that should be more than enough. We'll take him out and gem him up. And then I'll just stick him in the corner over here for now. Fervalond, you stay there, buddy. So with this, we can make the second chalk we're going to need today. If we had Iasnium dust, that is. So I'll give our friend here some raw Iasnium and he'll get to work. There we go. 1 more chalk for the fire, which means 1 more chalk for our satchel. Now we only have 4 more chalks left today, which is actually a lot less than I thought it was. So for magenta chalk, we need the Dragonis dust, which is also something we're going to need in the Trinity gem, so we'll make 2 of these. This is just amethyst, dragon's breath, endstone, and some end crystals on Ufix's inverted tower. Now Ufix's will go down here on this sacrificial bowl, so we'll break it, open up our dictionary spirits, come down to Ufix's. As you see, triggers the square one down here. We'll click show multi-block platform and right click it in. And we have enough space down here specifically for this guy, and we're all good to go. So once again, end crystals, dust, breath, and crushed endstone, which means I'm actually going to have to give this guy some endstone to crush. I'm going to place one of these down here, give it a little speed up, and that's one Draconist, and then we'll just make a second one real quick. And there we go. And back up to the surface, like the rest of this amethyst dust, rest of the iasnium dust for some reason that was in there. So that's that one checked off. Now we just need both impure light, so that's blue ice, crushed ice, and packed ice. Luckily, we have a lot of these things already being crafted, so I can just come down here and click them out as I need them. So that's packed, blue, and ice. Perfect. And our crusher will handle it in no time at all. That's one. I forgot to make this one. It's two. Impure pink is demonic meat, which means we're going to need Otis's open convocation. And luckily, Otis is a part of the ritual we just built, so we can do Otis directly on here. And this is just a possessed zombie pigman, which we will make. Luckily, we have the funguses. This just comes from the nether. And I didn't check what the summon was. It's a pig. I mean, it makes sense it's a pig. I assumed it was a pig. I just didn't bother checking. Which means I need a pig to sacrifice. And I don't believe I do have a pig spawn egg. Wow, we are lucky. Did I have one in my backpack? No, I didn't. Wow, we got the spider from doing the mob drop thing, but we did not get a pig. Capturing 5 really saves us, man. Just killing mobs with capturing 5 has saved us so much. But I'll get myself another swab here. Oh, I should have swabbed the pig. That would have been smart. Because now if we need another pig in the future, I'm going to have to redo that. But I'll speed this guy up a bit, and then we'll just mob swab the zombified one, like so, and kill him. That gave us 5 demonic meat, which is actually enough, luckily. So we'll make ourselves an impure pink chalk as well, but just in case we have it in the future. And last but not least is the green chalk. Now this needs nature paste, which is simply 3 seeds, 3 leaves, and 3 saplings. And that's on Ezevius' spectral compulsion, which we just used down here to do this guy. If we just wait 2 seconds, we have Ezevius down here. So I'll go ahead and remove these hoppers. And unfortunately, I don't have any leaves, so I'm just going to take some from our little witchery setup over here, or enchanted should I say, and we should be fine. And I don't know why this would need a sacrifice, but it doesn't, okay? And we just need a foliate book. Very simple. And we got ourselves nature paste. I don't think we're going to need nature paste for anything else but the chalk, so I think I'm fine to just keep this. And now that is all the chalks we're going to need, so I'll throw them all in here. As you see, many quests just completed. And now we're good to make Renaz's contract. If we open up our spirit dictionary here, we have the giant pentacle. And I believe, if my calculations are correct, they're all the same size and it should fit on this platform here, which it does. So there's a few items that we're going to need that we don't have. There is the lightning rod, there is iron bars, a window pane, the end rod, and then amethyst cluster, beacon, enchanting table, and lodestone. So lodestones are easy. It's just a bunch of chisel stone around a netherite ingot. Beacons, basic Minecraft. Now, the one thing we don't actually have here is the amethyst cluster, which is an easy fix. We just need to make ourselves a silk touch pickaxe and just mine one off of our amethyst cluster over there. And luckily, we have a silk touch book thanks to our library of Alexandria here, which, by the way, we're going to need to make another one for the pyramid later on. So I gotta remember to keep that in mind. But if I grab just a basic diamond pickaxe, we can get ourselves a silk touch book. I will turn this guy off for right now, just so I can grab an amethyst cluster, and then we'll turn back on. And if we throw it all into our satchel, we can come over here and right click it down. And there's our complete final occultism circle. It looks great. And this uses, like I said, all of the different chalks we've made at this point. And to use Renaz's contract, we're going to also need one more thing, which I hadn't made yet, which is the witherite dust, which is pretty simple. I just gotta crush some blackstone with our guy right here, and come on down to Severe's permanent confinement. Like so. And this is an Afrid book, I believe. Yes, it is. Okay. So our second last speed up. There we go. And that should be everything we need for this last ritual, I believe. I could be incorrect here, but I'm pretty sure that's all we need. We have the Afrid, we have the Cruelty Essence, we have Merit Essence potentially? Yes, we do. Okay, we have 1 Merit Essence left. I never actually copied the merit, so we might want to do another merit in the future, just in case, but I'm pretty sure that's all we're going to need it for. Now, I will say it is useful for the dimensional stabilizer if we wanted to go with dimensional storage, as well as the miners. The miners are absolutely fantastic. We don't have a need for any more resources on our island necessarily, so I think we're fine. But I will go ahead and do this. That should be good to go. We'll place down 9 bowls, grab one of our empty soul gems, and we're good to go. 3 dusts, 3 essences, and 3 of those. Now, if you don't have Aphrodite, like I said, and you want to spawn another one, you can actually just look up the mechanical. This, as long as it's a new one generated post patch 1.5 for FTB Skies, you're able to find Afrits in there from trial spawners, and they will give you what you need, which is, well, the Afrit essence. So we can go ahead and spawn this guy, or I guess summoned the Trinity Gem for what it's worth. And this guy was used for the Particle Collider to get the Evolutionary Arcanum we spoke about in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago for that matter. However, that's pretty much all we need to do in Occultism. So one thing I will mention about Occultism while we're here before we finish off is all of the rituals are shapes, right? This guy is like an 8-pointed star. This one right here is more of a diamond shape. This guy here is a circle, and then we have a square. Now, you can tell which rituals, if you open up the ritual page, you can see all of these square rituals, once you're at the max size, will all work inside this square ritual. Same with this guy up here. All of these circle shapes will do all of your circle rituals here. So if you're ever confused, where do I put the circle one? Once you're at your max size circle ritual, they will all go in that one. Similar to this guy, all of your diamond shape, or I guess rhombus shape ones with the little guy in the middle, they will all go here. And then with this guy, it's not as obvious, but Asoran's and Renaz's contract are the last 2 circles basically in this pack, and those are in here. Now, like I said, there is a few more things we could technically do with Occultism, and we might in the future if we need to use it a lot for different summons, but this pack doesn't require too much Occultism in the end. But we could make ourselves the Eldritch Chalice. This guy allows you to do rituals instantly instead of having to use a temporal pouch. This Eldritch Chalice will replace your golden sacrificial bowl in the middle, and your rituals will instantly complete. So very, very useful, but it's not too big of a concern. And then there's the Void Chalk. The Void Chalk replaces all of your chalks. I personally like the different colors of Occultism. I think they look cool. I've always liked the rainbow puke that Occultism gives. So I don't mind having all the different colors, but the Void Chalk will replace them all. You could also go with the Rainbow Chalk, which is a combination of all the chalks, except for your black, grays, whites, and light grays. So your foundation chalks in the middle here. But the Rainbow Chalk and Void Chalks are 2 things we could go ahead and make. But I think we're fine on that for now. Like I said, I don't need to do too much more Occultism. There might be a few summons we do just for specific things in the future. But for now, we do have our Trinity Gem. So I say, why not use it? So we'll throw all this stuff in here. We'll make a primordial assembly real fast. And if we collide both of these in our lovely new particle accelerator, and it should collide in any second now. I'm going to sit far away this time because it is usually really loud when these 2 particles collide. But as soon as we see the purple line at the very edge, we should know collision's about to happen. There we go. And that looks successful. Perfect. We now have the Evolutionary Arcanum. We can go ahead and add this to our little list over here. And look at that. We already have a start for Tier 2. Now, like I've mentioned previously, a lot of these things aren't going to be done anytime soon. This requires us to get into Ender IO as well as Pneumaticraft. This guy also requires Pneumaticraft. Technically some more Occultism. So you know what? While we're in the Occultism episode, may as well make ourselves a Dimensional Crystal Matrix. This is really simple. It's just triggers binding with some quartz and ender pearls, but we may as well make it. But I don't believe there's any more Occultism left in these recipes. Crowd Fluid, for example, that will be through Modern Industrialization. There is, in case you don't want to do Modern Industrialization, a mixing recipe here. However, this requires Industrial Coolant from FTB, as well as doing the Helium recipe with mixing of molten uranium, time fluid, and the clock. It is bizarre, I will say. It's just a bizarre recipe. You're so much easier doing a bit of Modern Industrialization for this. MI is not a hard mod. It may look complicated, but it's really easy. It also requires a bit of immersive engineering, or in our case, we can do the implosion compressor for this guy. But in the end, there's not too much left in this pack for us. There's some immersive engineering, there's a bit of pneumaticraft, a bit of Ender IO, and then a dabble in modern industrialization. Now, I don't want to take too long on MI, as we just did Neotech. I say just, but that was a year ago. But we did just technically do Neotech on this channel, so I don't necessarily want to flood this series with modern industrialization specifically, but I think 2 or 3 episodes max to get to the end game of MI would be pretty good. We'll probably do a bit of montage work and get all through the early game of modern industrialization. We'll skip through all the way to like HV, most likely. I don't see the need to do Steam Age, especially when we're this late into the game. Steam Age is just a bore. The beginning of MI is also a bore, but getting to late game, maybe into the replicator, potentially. We're not too sure. We'll see how far we go. We might just stop at the implosion compressor, because that's as far as we technically need for the star. But we'll see once we get there. But for now, like I said, we're just going to quickly make ourselves a dimensional crystal matrix. And we know it is the square ritual, so we'll come all the way down to the bottom and speed her up. And that's that. So this dimensional storage matrix is actually really fun to use. We haven't dabbled into occultism storage on this channel necessarily, but it's not something we're going to rule out for a future pack. There's only one pack in recent memory that I think dimensional matrices was a good option in, and that was Enigmatica 9 Expert Mode. And that's because it was a very magic-centered, slight tech pack, and it was a really, really fun pack, and it is something I would honestly play on the channel again in the future, potentially, just because it is a really fun pack, and I think it is slept on, and not enough people did play it, which is sad, because I think it was really well done, and a very unique pack at that. But that is the last pack I do remember having a good use for it, but there are so many mod packs nowadays, I obviously have not played them all. Nevertheless, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the episode there. A very small episode once again, but it was just a small dabble into the occultism mod. We cleaned up our setups and finished it all up. We have all of the rituals we're going to need in the future if we need them, and all of the chalks as well. If we need occultism again, which I don't believe we will, but in case we do have everything set up like I said. Next episode, we're going to jump into tech, and I think the rest of the pack, the rest of our series for that matter, will be tech-centered. So we'll probably do a bit of immersive engineering, as well as Ender IO in the next episode. Then we'll jump into pneumaticraft potentially as well. I can't say for sure. And then after that, it will be the modern industrialization grind. So if you're not excited for that, I do not blame you. There's a lot of disdain towards the mod, unfortunately, because people just aren't excited to jump into it, which I find very unfortunate because it's a very well-crafted mod. So I hope to make my episodes at least entertaining enough, as well as hopefully help you along with the mod if you're trying to do it yourself and are confused. I will try my best to break it down into digestible steps, and we will progress as we need be. Enough rambling, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. If you like the video, leave a like, I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions about occultism or any tips for future endeavors we might have, like with our tech mods, leave it in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss any future uploads on the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.